Planning Committee. We will start, as always, with apologies for absence, PC 2591, for which we have 3 apologies. Apology from David Chappell, who is the chair of this committee, and that's why I'm chairing it tonight in his absence. Councillor Clark and Councillor Fuller. So are we happy, they're all away on business doing other things, are we happy to accept those 3 apologies?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I just want to do the minutes of the previous meeting. Are we happy to approve and sign the minutes of the planning meeting held on the 24th of February 2024? We've got a proposer for that. I'm happy to propose it. Seconder, here. All those in favour?
26.
Yes, sorry, 26. 24. I'm looking at the 24. 26. Got it right. Okay, right. In which case then, let's now move on to the rest of the agenda items. We have a large delegation here. I've never seen so many people who are not part of the committee actually attend the planning committee, and I've been on this committee for 3 years now, so welcome. We know why you're here, and it isn't to hear things on any of the outstanding planning applications. I'll sign those in a minute. We have on our agenda 2 items that I believe you're interested in. One is PC 2596, which is to do with unauthorised development next to Warmington petrol station, and the other one is P 2597 to discuss the deferred rugby club planning application. In order to ensure that you're not just sitting here listening to lots of planning applications you're not interested in, what I'd like to propose to the committee is that we move those 2 agenda items up to the beginning of the agenda and take those as our first 2 agenda items now following. Are we happy to do
Do you want
that?
a seconder?
I propose it. We have a seconder. All those in favour? So let's take them in the order in which they appear then on the committee, on the agenda. So now I'll move to PC 2596 to receive information regarding the unauthorised development of land situated adjacent to the Warmington petrol station. Discuss and decide next steps. Councillors, you all would have seen information on this in your packs. There's essentially 2 sets of information. There's an email from the parish clerk at Warmington, and I'm telling you this because you may not have seen it, so I'm kind of elaborating for the audience, so to speak. So what the parish clerk at Warmington has done is to email NCC, which they did on the 16th of March, without wishing to read out the content of the email in word for word. Essentially what they are asking for is an urgent TSN, a temporary stop notice, on the basis that they are alleging, and of course it is only alleged at this stage, that there is work that's been observed to do with stripping of topsoil, engineering work with diggers, installation of gated entrances, none of which apparently has planning permission at this stage. And then we've also seen an email from one of the Northants councillors, Simon, who again has essentially been, how can I put it? He's referred it again internally to the powers that be at NNC. What I certainly haven't seen is any response to any of these inquiries at NNC, and certainly I've not seen a response regarding the request from the Warmington Parish Clerk for a TSN. I'm going to slightly pause there, to allow John to maybe provide us extra information. John?
So I got a call this afternoon to a meeting at Warmington with Martin Griffiths, who's the chair of NMC, and Warmington, Tanser, Glatthorne, Elton, Cotterstock, parish councils, and the Barons caseworker, some of which I can't share, but basically they don't need planning permission to do what they've already done. They will need planning permission to do anything else if they do anything else. At the moment, we've been told by them they don't intend to do anything else except use it as grazing land. The NNC people have what's called a CTU, a Council Travels Unit, who are ready for action should it be required bank holiday weekend. I can't share anything else about what they might do. I can tell you that we've been told that the CTU have a vast amount of experience, that they have recently had success elsewhere at Rothwell and Loddington. Highway safety has been had to have a look, we're waiting for their report. But at their poised.
Lisa, have you heard any more? You've not seen any other correspondence that haven't made it onto the agenda, so that's the most up-to-date information we have. Any questions to John on that?
Thank you for being there that quickly.
So, just going back to the end agenda item, we need to decide next steps. John, what do you want to recommend as our next steps as a planning committee from Oundle?
The trigger will be if the land, if anything happens to the land above and beyond what's currently happening.
Yeah.
And Tanser and Warmington are on point.
Okay.
So we need to do nothing.
So if we can agree that we monitor the situation and are therefore prepared to act in the same way that the other parishes have done so, if it goes over and above what we currently are
if
aware
there
of.
are any actions to be taken, then they have asked, and I was going to send an email tomorrow to councillors, any action comes through me so I can go through it, because otherwise what they don't want is 2,000 residents around the whole county calling an action line who can't take action because everyone's calling them. They need to be left alone to act.
Okay. Any other issues on that? In which case then I'll move on to PC 2597 to discuss the Third Rugby Club planning application and decide next steps, if any. I said before the meeting started to our friends in the gallery that hopefully you haven't wasted your time coming here, but personally I don't think there's going to be a very long discussion about this. I'm going to start by telling you something that you probably already know, and that is the application was scheduled for discussion on the 11th of March in Corby. It was deferred, at least a recommendation for deferral to that planning committee went forward on the 11th of March. At very short notice. I mean, we only heard about it the day beforehand. And the reason that has been given by NC for that deferral is, and I'm quoting here, the need for the 4-metre high acoustic fence and details of the lighting are being further considered by the council's environmental protection team. End quote. As you know, I'm going to carry on further bit to the quote. Therefore, the application will be considered at a future planning committee, and all interested parties will be advised once the new committee date is known. And that's as much as we know. I'm sure you were all at the meeting that we held in the room just at the other end of the corridor here, what will be 2 weeks ago now, the week before that 11th of March meeting. We had a report of that meeting that has come to this committee, but it's only realistically a report to be received. It notes the discussion that took place. You were there. My personal view, and I'll ask for the views of others in a minute, is that it was actually a very useful meeting. I think it was very well chaired by our councillor, NCC councillor, who gave opportunity for members of the public to voice their concerns in a structured and shall we say, controversial, a non-confrontational way, but also allowed time for the rugby club to both respond to concerns and put their case forward. As I said at that meeting, I think the biggest concern that I had is the fact that the meeting was probably 8 to 9 months too late. I think a number of people would agree with that. But in terms of us discussing next steps, to a certain extent, there really is very little to discuss because we don't know what is going to come out of the fact that NCC require or want the council's environmental protection team to look at this again until we actually know what their pronouncements are. It's difficult for us to second guess what that will be and how to respond to it. So I'm going to stop there and open up questions, discussion first from councillors, and then give you an opportunity to voice your own concerns as well. First of all, would anybody, particularly of those of you who are at the open meeting, want to add to anything that I've already said or correct it? We don't usually take questions from the floor. I realise that this is a very unusual set of circumstances, but I will allow you to voice any further concerns for information only. We can't take any decision on those, but given that you've made the effort to be here, which is fully appreciated, and given how strongly you feel about this, I think it's only appropriate that we listen to those concerns. So I invite you to comment if you wish to do so.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. There's a couple of things. I've tried several times to contact Mr. Patterson, who in the last fortnight no longer working for NCC, now being told is working for NCC, but doesn't reply to emails, and I find it a little bit frustrating. There are, in the suggested plans, there are the removal of some quite elderly trees in the bottom left-hand corner of the pitch, which right at the bottom of my garden. One of the reasons I bought the property, because they're nice, mature trees. As part of the submission, it clearly states that they're going to complete the works in accordance with the tree protection order. But when you actually dig deep into the detail, they're actually excavating 700 mil around the tree root protection zone, which will kill the tree. And I put that to Mr. Patterson, and I get no response. And I just feel that we're being ignored, important matters. I tried to contact the tree officer to see if we can get a temporary tree protection order put on it, which is something that I've done in my career in the past, to ensure that the tree is protected correctly if the development is given permission, but don't seem to be getting anywhere. And just really, I know you can't comment, but is it not something that, as the landowners, that you should be looking at to preserve the mature trees that are on that site, and ensuring that the design is accommodating of those trees rather than ignoring them and playing, I would say, lip service to the British standard for tree protection orders, which clearly states non-excavation around the tree root.
As I said, we're in an unusual situation because this is technically not part of the committee meeting. I do think it's important that we hear the public concerns. I will respond to that, but I just want to take any other comments and try and respond to them collectively rather than doing this all individually and piecemeal. So if anybody else wants to make a comment. No, in which case then I'll just...
I've got one more then.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. The other one is the Section 106 agreement. I live on Cottstock Meadows. Yeah. There was a Section 106 agreement part of Cottstock Meadows development. I believe it's £115,000 was paid to the developer for a 3 metre wide extension of the cycleway that's at the bottom of Cottstock Meadows to join up with the roadway. That's not shown in the design, and just really, I appreciate, I believe that's from NCC and not part of the town council, but it's your land again. What's development, what's the plan for that cycleway? Is it not going to exist? Because it's not shown on the plans.
Okay, again, let me try and respond to both of those concerns. As I mentioned when we had the open meeting, whenever it was, back in the early part of this month, the town council, this committee essentially, objected to the application on a number of grounds, and the removal of trees was one of them. So it has already been raised by the planning committee of OTC. We've recognised that. The path, my understanding of the application and comments on it is that they claim that the path will not be affected by this. What I think it's important to do, and again, I tried to make this remark at that open meeting, so I don't think I'm putting anything new on the table. You know, it's already out there, and that is that what OTC have to do is to separate out planning issues from issues that they may have as a landowner and landlord. And I think it's important we don't confuse the two. They are separate processes and have to be dealt with in different ways. What we're currently dealing with is a planning issue. And of course, as part of that process, it's largely in the court of NNC. We're just a bit player along with everybody else, realistically. But we have to let that process run its course. at the point where we know what the outcome of that process is, we then need to consider that as landowner and landlord. And we have to keep those things independent from one another.
Sorry, Mark. So I understand your situation, fully. My concern is, that once they've got planning and they've submitted all of the evidence to close out and conditions, they could just start. Without legally, it's,
They have to negotiate a new lease with their landlord.
okay, a comment was made after the meeting that they don't believe they have to, they're just going to build it anyway.
They've already built.
They've already built without planning permission.
They may think that. I will just repeat what I said. They have to negotiate a new lease with their landlord.
A new lease, I appreciate that, because they're probably getting a grant pitch from the RFU, and the RFU will insist on a 10-year lease, as a minimum.
I was going to ask a question for ecological reasons, damaging the natural aspects of this council land as landlord. What can the council do to protect that land? And what can the council do to protect the neighbours to that land?
I think we're getting into territory now which is beyond the realm of the planning committee. I've already, shall we say, been liberal in the interpretation of our own regulations in allowing you to put your views forward. I think it's important that we give you the opportunity to hear your concerns. Hopefully you'll appreciate that I've done my best to do that. And we've stuck to our agenda in terms of doing exactly what it says on the can. So I think at this stage, I probably need to end that agenda item and move on to other parts of the meeting.
Very much appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay? You're welcome to stay. But
I'm sure you don't need the, sitting in the background whispering, so.
it's always good.
Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
No problem. Right, okay, in which case then we're now going to move back to agenda item, thank you very much, agenda item 259501. And I'm going to start by saying that I am conflicted on that planning application, and therefore I'm going to hand the chair over to somebody else.
I'm also conflicted. I must have missed calling out 2593 of other interests. I would have declared at that time I was going to recuse myself.
Sorry, which one?
2593 other interests. I ought to have mentioned then that I'm conflicted with this.
Right.
So I'm conflicted. I can't chair.
So would I, Ian, I know you've already offered to chair, so I don't have to withdraw, but I will just remain silent.
Okay.
So you're now in the chair, Ian.
Right, thank you. All right, let's have a look at the report, which is for 7 Benefield Road, and it's for an erection of a single-storey side extension following demolition removal of the existing side leading structures. Lisa, do we have anything in terms of diagrams and documents?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the location.
Okay. Now, my understanding, according to this documents here, it is in the conservation area. Is that correct?
So you've got, it's a bit of a strange situation because this is the very edge of the conservation area. This is the house that the planning commission relates to.
Right.
And you've got a situation where you've got the 2 almost opposite houses here do not lie within the conservation area and have been extensively extended every which way.
Right.
So it's an awkward situation where this is a sort of 1960s, maybe 70s house. But has ended up in the middle of the conservation area. These houses either side are old sort of historic cottages, hence why the conservation area is probably extended as it has been. But under normal circumstances, that house probably wouldn't have been qualified to be in the conservation area. So it's a really odd situation because the street scene here has been completely altered. Obviously, you've got a new area here, fairly new area here as well. So it's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, the problem is though, it is in the conservation
It
area.
is, yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of stuck that way, whether we agree or not, it's in the conservation area. We have no visuals of what they're looking at.
This is it. That's the floor plans. So, this is how it is at the moment. So that's the road, that's what you see from the road, south elevation. And that's what they want to do to it.
The tiles, are they, just having a quick look on this. It just says a tiled pitched roof veranda. Is the tiles going to be in keeping with the conservation? It doesn't actually say here on this. You know, I read this and I'd like the opinions of fellow members of the committee, but I read this and it just seems a little bit lack of information in regard, because this is in the conservation area. If it wasn't in the conservation area, I think we could look at it slightly differently. But the fact, geography it is, I'm not sure we have enough information here. That's my personal view. I'm going to open it. Val, do you have any comments?
No, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Because of the particular situation in a conservation area and the necessity for it to be to sit in the conservation area comfortably. I don't know how else to say it.
I know exactly what you're saying.
But on the other hand, at the back of my mind is the fact that it probably would be improved anyway by certain alterations. So it's a...
Yeah, I'm torn that way as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's an incredibly ugly house at the moment and it can only be improved, can't it? And needs to be improved. Yeah, up to modern standards for people to live in.
That's the picture of the house, as is.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It will move it. And that house to the side of it, which I'm not sure is a listed building, but that had a recent extension as well, there to the side of it. I will show Bob. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no sort of comments on the application apart from something related to a tree, which has nothing to do with the building itself. So there's no comments from the neighbours, positive or negative. And there's nothing from Historic England, which is an interesting sign. It says here that NNC Environmental Health Scene Conditions regard to site burning and dust management, which is very straightforward. Okay. My views about what you think, because we're basically it's just the three of us at the moment. So
I agree with what I've said.
you agree with what you said. Okay. So
I think we probably could do with more information.
great. I feel exactly the same. At least I'm not sure how we take this forward, but I think we would like a lot more information in terms of
Detail.
the detail, what the roof is going to look like,
Sure.
that sort of area. I think on balance, we don't really have that much of an objection, but because it's in the conservation area, we have to make sure that it abides by the rules and then it comes into the overall plan of the conservation area.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Okay, that's our view. at that point,
Do you want to hand the chair back?
I'll hand the chair back.
Okay, thank you very much. In which case, I just realised actually, whilst you were doing that, that in my effort to push things up to the agenda to play to the gallery here, we didn't actually do anything about PC 2593. So I'm actually going to return to that and retrospectively declare interests. Does anybody have any interests, either disclosable pecuniary interests or other interests to declare? And that's where we should have done it.
Yes.
I'm declaring the fact that I should have, I'm compromised on 7A. And John, you can now formally make your declaration too.
Yes, I'm interested, I have an interest in 25950101, so I'm withdrawing from that discussion.
Okay.
Can I just say, I've got an interest in something, a question I'm going to bring up as, for information afterwards, so it's not on the agenda itself, but I'll declare it.
Okay, as long as it's not a, yeah, right, and I'm sorry about that, I was trying to ensure that we dealt with our public's concerns and I overlooked that, so I apologise. So let's now move on to 950102, which is the planning application for 19 Cotterstock Road. Again, there's a slight lack of paperwork here, but just to, whilst we're loading up things, this is essentially a new or newish property anyway, and they now want to put solar panels on the side elevation, which wasn't part of the original planning application. Here we can see the house and the panels are going literally pretty much all over. You probably can't see them very well on this because they're very similar colour to the side of the roof, but surprise, surprise, they're on the south facing side and are pretty much all over. So that whole side of the roof, apart from the two dormer type windows, will be covered with solar panels. I'm also very aware, might call this timely, I don't know if you realise that the government announced today that all new houses are going to have solar panels. Quite how they're going to introduce that, I don't know, but that's their plan. So it's in keeping with government thinking and government policy. As I said, it's a relatively new constructed building anyway. I see there's no reason to oppose it, but let's hear views from the committee.
I have no objection to that.
I have no objection.
In which case then, it's a straightforward no objection, Lisa. Okay, then let's move on to 0103, which is 5 Stoke Hill, where again we're back into listed building consent territory, and this is for what's been called a shepherd's hut. I don't think there'll be any shepherds of it in it or sheep. It's essentially being used as an office, as far as I can tell, and it's going to have some a WC and a hand basin in it as well, and also the installation of an electric vehicle. That clearly was not taken recently. An electric vehicle charging point as well. So again, you can see, first of all, what we've got here. stop moving around, take everything off. So, the charging point, surprise, surprise, is actually at the front of the property. And this is Stoke Hill coming down here. Right at the back, which you're hardly actually going to be able to see from the road at all, is where the shepherd's hut is going to go. And also there's going to be a new garden shed as well. Looking at the three external things, nothing happening internally, nothing is actually happening to the bulk of the property. Of course, it still needs listing building consent because, just to remind people, it's the whole of the environment that's listed. So technically anything that's happening in the garden has to come under listed property consent as well. If the garden shed, or for that matter, the shepherd's hut, were deemed to be temporary structures, they technically wouldn't even need planning permission either. But I think it's only proper and right that they have gone through this. They would need it for the EV anyway, because that's physically attached to the building. So they would definitely need planning permission for that. So there it is. Comments, thoughts?
Nobody can see it. I mean, it's behind, and it looks like the way they're looking at it will be quite sympathetic.
You'll clearly see the charging point from the road. But the other things are relatively well hidden. John?
I think I'm happy with all of it. I just made the point that the charging point, as you walk up the road, right now, I've done my job past there frequently, there's a cable coming across the road, protector.
Yeah, the protector thing.
But it's coming out through the letterbox. It will be it's on a granny plug, which is basically a very slow, inefficient way of charging an EV. If they have a proper charging point, it would allow them to charge the car much more quickly. The cable would be thicker though, so you might need to have a separate or a different, I don't know, health and safety guard on it. I think it's a good thing to do. Well, I declare I've got an EV. And I think from what I read, from what I see on the plan, it's to the side of the property, it's not on the front of the property.
No.
So there's a small wall there, and I suspect it'll be above that small wall.
That's right.
And I think reasonably unobtrusive. So I think that's the one that might cause some comment, but I'm supportive of it.
Anybody want to add to that?
I don't have any objection.
So no objection from Val, no objection, no. No objection from me either. And the only thing I would note, I agree with Councillor Wade's comments on the charging point. And of course, we have to be aware of any precedents we're making. This is a charging point attached, or certainly, in close proximity to a listed building in the conservation area. So, we need to be, shall we say, mindful of the precedent.
It's still going to go across the pavement, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
something has to be put in place at this point as to how
Yeah.
that goes across the
Yeah.
pavement. There's one on West Street further down at the moment that comes across the pavement as well. And it's going to be something that's ongoing as we increase the electric cars. So
Yeah.
that should be looked at really at the time of the application.
Sure.
To make sure that there is proper, something more substantial or
Yeah,
for the crossing across the pavement.
yeah.
So that when there's more applications come in, it's something that is automatically done really.
And maybe if we could note something along those lines now,
It's the way
response.
forward
Yeah.
for the electric cars, and there's going to be more applications.
Okay, so beyond that, no other concerns that we want to raise, in which case, thank you very much. That takes us on to the fourth of our 4 planning applications, which is a garage conversion in 16 Rockingham Hills. And we're just about to bring that up on the electronic scoreboard. This is about essentially making a new bedroom, from what one can tell, and not en suite as such, well, kind of, with a wet room. As Councillor Chappell has noted in his report, there is no supporting design and access statement, which is a bit of a concern. It isn't entirely clear what this means in terms of the rest of the house, in the sense that if we look at that plan, thank you very much. So here is the garage. They already have this large bedroom behind, and if you look at where's their plan for the, here's the proposal, we go up a bit, you can see what they're doing is that they're not changing anything here. It literally is in the confines of that garage, where they're effectively putting windows at the front, creating a bedroom, which curiously will lead off of bedroom 1. But hey, that's up to them. You can only access it via another bedroom. But that's what they wish to do. The other thing that's not clear from the application is what this means for parking. And whether we should be concerned about that. Can we see, Lisa, I'm not quite sure, did they not, I don't think they provided an actual plot of the whole thing, did they? What we can't see is, we might be able to see it on here, yeah. It's not clear what parking they have out here. This is where the garage is, and that's that big bedroom at the back. But it's, I bet the chances are they don't use the garage for parking currently anyway. So I'm not convinced it's going to have a huge knock-on effect one way or the other.
If you remember, they did put planning in for a bigger extension, but it was rejected because they were trying to move, it looked like they were trying to move
the garage forward.
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember that.
And it says here that went to
time.
appeal as well, but it was unsuccessful.
Right.
Part of that previous application was to develop an amenity land, so I don't know if it's part of where you've got the red line that goes in towards the garage. So
they tried to push it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see why that was rejected, but there's also a biodiversity thing. Whether this, what I'd have liked was to have seen, and I should have looked, I guess, at that previous application to see what the difference in scale is, because this is just changing.
Yeah.
It's not changing the footprint, yeah.
And the brickwork that's replacing the door is the same as the brickwork that's already there. There's no parking difference because who uses a garage these days anyway. So I'm not clear that this is the same as that. So I wouldn't want to refuse this one because the part of the previous one has been refused.
David's suggestion, if we weren't quorum, was that he would have suggested that we object on the basis that there would be insufficient on-site parking for the size of the property, because obviously they're adding another bedroom. So that was his suggestion as the response.
It's interesting looking at the plans, isn't it? Because I do wonder whether it is going to be used as 2 bedrooms, because there's a separate entrance to it as well, isn't there? So, in that respect, it's probably not going to increase need for parking, is it, at all? Just the way it can be accessed separately, and that area at the back, and then you've got the bedroom with an ensuite. That's a nice separate.
Looking at Google and satellite, Google Drive, they have got some space out the front for parking, but it's probably space for maybe one car.
Yeah.
Rocking Hill, those of us who know it, everyone's parking occasion anyway.
Yeah.
Parking's already an issue around there. What we don't know either, and it's probably not relevant, is whether they're creating that because the residents are getting elderly,
Yeah.
downstairs accommodation.
Right.
The creation of a new bedroom and a wet room give me rise to think it might be that. And it's cheaper to do that than move, than if they live there forever. I'm not sure I see any reasons to object on parking. I'm not sure I see any reasons to object on the size or the look of it. But David's more experienced than me, he will know more about parking than I do. Maybe.
I mean, David's often very, shall we say, keen that parking space should not be lost.
Yeah.
My concern here is that in reality, it's not going to affect parking at all, because I bet they don't park a car in the garage anyway.
Correct.
No, the thing is there going to be another adult with another vehicle?
I appreciate that.
That's
Yeah.
what they would be working with.
I appreciate that.
Calculation.
You know, whether it requires, it means that there's going to be another occupant to the house, which therefore would,
Yeah, because they're not going to
require-
have an empty bedroom, are they? They're spending lots of money on
Yes, no.
getting it sorted.
Possibly an elderly person anyway, that wouldn't have a vehicle.
It's the space on the road as well that counts.
Well, there's quite a bit of land at the front, and that's why I asked Lisa to show the
Yeah, the whole
location
side,
plan,
yeah.
the whole site. You know, that's actually quite a lot of land that they've got at the front. I don't know what it's used for. I could look on Google Maps, but,
Yeah, looking at that, the proportion of what they're going to do,
if you
isn't
look,
that
if you look at
great?
the size of the land at the
Yeah.
front in relation to the garage,
Sure,
it's several times the size of the
Absolutely.
garage.
I
Yeah,
don't have a problem.
Can you get the Google Maps updated? Because I think there's a fence along there, isn't there, or a hedge or something?
that's why it's lawn at the
It's
moment.
lawn
It's lawn, yeah.
Yeah,
and pavement.
yeah. And I bet they use that as a parking space. I'm beginning to see David's concern.
Yeah.
Can I have a look at, can I look at it on the screen so we can all see?
Yeah, I've just looked at it on Ian's phone. It might be easy if you go into Google Maps rather than Google Earth. But
Yeah, I mean, maybe we say you can do, but.
Rockingham
Parking
Hills.
change.
Well, we can make a remark, we can say as long as or something like that.
We can do, but there's no parking change. I don't see a parking change. No, we can't.
Yeah,
Because there's another bedroom, there's going to be another.
Yeah, but David's point, if he were here, he would say that's irrelevant. The issue is that they're changing the number of people who can live in the house, which means that you have to up the parking to go with it.
There you go.
He's worried about them changing, essentially bringing in potentially another adult into the house. And where are they going to put their car?
If we go down that route, sorry, Andy. If you go down that route, does that mean we have to ask every member of the public living in town how many people have got in the house? Because if they sell that house and there are only 2 people, they're going to say you can't move in if you've got 3 people.
It's not so much that. What David's concerned, I'm trying to argue David's case in his absence, which is not always easy.
I know.
What David's concern, I think, would be is that you're changing it, and this is the problem. We don't know what's happening above. but you're changing it probably from a 3-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom house. If this was a new build, which it isn't, I realise, but the parking requirements for a 4-bed house are different from a 3-bed house. So the point is you've changed one element but kept the other element constant.
I see that and I get it and I can.
Can I ask what the white markings on the other side of the road are? Because if that's limiting parking for some reason.
It's not, it's
No,
not.
that's Google.
That's Google.
That's just the Google.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
is it?
So
So I
back to
just
John.
don't see that. It's buried.
Back to Joe.
My previous one remains, which is, whilst I hear what David's saying, parking requirements for a 4-bedroom house is different than a 3-bedroom house. That could be a 3-bedroom house with a 15-year-old who in 3 years' time will get another car anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to say you can't do that because the garage that you're not using now, the parking, you've not got a parking space at the moment. If they park the car in the garage, how many people do that? I can see the argument, but I struggle to think of the ramifications of saying you can't do that because you might have another adult in the house.
right, okay, let's try and move this to a close. I personally don't have no issue with it, I was just trying to be David.
I know.
Be David, because I know that's exactly what David would say. But having said that, I think we are still we're not opposed to it.
We're not.
That's all right, I just wanted it important that David should have his say in that sense here. So we've discussed that, let's move on. In which case then, in terms of outcomes, there's nothing there. Planning appeals, nothing there. We've already talked about Wilmington and the rugby club. Nothing to do with enforcement issues, which takes us to any other business. And I have one item for any other business, but let's go around. I'm going to start this way, Val.
I don't have anything.
No, I'm going to jump to John.
Nope.
No. No, Alison.
Yes,
No.
I just have one, and that's why I wanted to declare. My mother-in-law lives in Bridgeview, Hurndall, and a few of the neighbours and residents are querying what's happening to Picarthy. Primarily because there's a couple of houses for sale, there's one for let, and they're all being kind of stagnant, waiting to see what's happening, and there seems to be a lack of progress. So I was asking what that progress was going to be, if there is any, because I have not heard anything at all.
No, I've not either, so I'll chase that tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Well, I talked to John Pig,
John Pitt, yeah.
who likes to keep an ear open for it, and it's a complete mystery to him as to
Okay,
what's
so
happening.
something, if we can find out what's going on, that would be very useful. Because it's becoming an eyesore and it's starting to deteriorate a little bit, so.
They've had 2 planning applications in, one, well, actually, no, sorry, one wasn't an application. The application, as far as I know, has been approved.
Yeah, it was.
We obviously sent in our comments some while ago, I think before you were on this committee. It's subsequently been approved by NNC. There was secondly an issue to do with vegetation at the front of one of the
But it was
buildings.
minor,
Do you
it was
remember?
just
That's
about a
relatively
bush.
minor issue.
I thought it was approved for residential dwellings, that was taken out.
No,
There's a new one coming.
So it's basically all with
The
them,
garage.
Yeah,
it's all with them at the moment.
that's been approved.
So they own the site. The
Yes.
people own the site.
Yeah.
So at the moment, they're not developing it, I don't know why, but it's costing them money.
Must be.
Yeah. They may be that they don't have the capital or, you know.
Cash flow.
Well, I don't even know.
With petrol prices at the moment, who knows what
Who knows what's going on? But I haven't seen an approval of the new planning.
No, if you go onto the portal, or your mum wants to go to the portal,
It hasn't been approved, it's still pending.
I think it has.
No, it's not in the garage.
It has not been done.
Oh, did it still not come through?
No.
Okay.
No, because it's the residential ones, that was taken away, now we've got a garage, which was car washes and all sorts of
Yeah.
things, and that's still pending. Hence my question.
Oh, that's probably right then.
Yeah.
Unless you've
I would
answered
love to
your
have it.
question.
Because the residential one kept coming back, I think it came back 4 times, because they did actually
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
what we said.
Yeah.
but then that just
I know.
altered.
Okay, so my other business is I've been contacted by a ratepayer, member of the public, town resident, to do with the felling of a tree in, so I'm just gonna look at my email to make sure I get this correct, because I can never remember the name of the damn place. Yeah, try again. You're all waiting for this.
Just remember, Val,
Sit down,
it's done by 9
It's
o'clock.
definitely an animal. It's, I could look on a map, it's the place down, it's a cul-de-sac, comes off Milton Road.
Stirling,
Yes,
Stirling.
that's the one. There is a very large Wellingtonian tree
Yeah.
that did come to this meeting, if you remember. It was originally turned down by NCC, but they have appealed and they've been granted permission to cut it down on appeal.
Yeah.
And the resident is wanting to know what they can do about it, because this is outrageous.
What, the appeal has been allowed, that they're cutting it down?
Yes, the appeal has gone forward. So the point is that the decision has been overturned by the appeal, which means that they've been granted permission to cut it down.
Is it down? Has it come down yet?
It's going to be a massive operation, it's huge.
And I basically told them that we can't
Did
overturn
they do
that
anything at the
decision.
appeal stage
No.
to?
They were wanting whether there's anything to do with process that they could complain about, but I don't think that there is.
They can, if they want, they can write letters and emails.
Yeah.
Much good it'll do. If the inspector's been round and overturned the
The
decision.
inspector has been round, and looked at damage to the property and overturned the decision in the favour, in the owner's favour. But clearly some people are very upset by it. It is a lovely tree.
It's a lovely tree, but if I was a resident whose property was affected,
Mm.
I'd be worried about the foundations. So I can understand people's upset, but I can also understand that a homeowner wanted to protect their property.
Well, I did propose at the time when it was discussed that there is another solution. You can knock the property down
Always the case.
and move the tree. But,
Anyway,
Which
Anyway,
right, in which case then, let's close the meeting.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max.
Can we turn that off?
Yeah. Stop. Why didn't it stop?
He's still looking at me.
Yeah.
We're still